Welcome back to the station. Welcome back to the channel. Y'all know who it is. It's your boy Ray G. You can find me on X at RayGQue. This is my post-Super Bowl 2025 NFL mock draft. Not one, but 2 rounds. And the dope thing about this one is we're going to take into consideration all of the information, whether it's smoke, whether it's BS, it's new information coming out of this week of the Super Bowl. A lot of stuff from Media Row, a lot of stuff floating around in the media, some things that have already been reported, like this one right here coming out of New York. Aaron Rodgers not expected back on the Jets team in 2025. There's a lot of rumor and speculation about Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford. You heard Malik Neighbors advocating for both of these guys, talking about Matthew Stafford's arm strength. Giants potentially interested in Russell Wilson as well. There's other reports about Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders. As I've always thought, no character concerns. All great leadership. Everyone loves the kid. Could go number 1 overall. You know, we're going through that season where he's supposed to be a bad kid. All these different narratives. But you're looking now, Rodgers on the move, potentially landing in Pittsburgh right now. Plus 100 odds for him to be the starting quarterback in Pittsburgh. The best odds for that right now. Got the Raiders and the Raiders in there as a sneaky, I think, like 7-1 to be in Las Vegas as well. So we're going to implement some of what we're hearing into this mock. And I also want to introduce some just different ideas and concepts that are not being talked about a lot. And let's just talk through them. Talk through these situations. What could happen? We might have a trade or two in this mock draft. So I appreciate you tapping in. Do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Help the channel grow. Hit the thumbs up button. Engage in the comments. I'll try to respond to each and every comment, good or bad. I like talking the ball. Let's do it right now. 2 round 2025 post Super Bowl mock. At number 1, the GM said we want a generational talent. In my opinion, that's not a quarterback. It's either the player that a lot of people are comparing to Micah Parsons, or it's Travis Hunter, the defensive back out of Colorado. So if they want a true generational talent here at pick number 1, it's Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. Which way do you want to go? If I'm Tennessee right here, I'm taking Abdul Carter at the top of the draft. So Abdul Carter's coming off of the board. Number 1 overall to the Tennessee Titans. I do believe he's got some of that Micah Parsons in his game. Let's move on to pick 2. And as we go through the first round, a lot of the normal cats that we talking about, we ain't going to take all day. We'll kind of go through that expeditiously through this first part of this mock. At number 2, Cleveland's on the clock. Everything that we're hearing, they love Shedeur Sanders, fan of Cam Ward. And there was just a report that came out from Pelissaro about 2 hours ago that they had planned on drafting a quarterback regardless of Deshaun Watson's health. He's out for the season. Jameis Winston's a free agent. They're advocating for him to go play in New York. Saquon Barkley was like, go play in New York. I think Cleveland's going to take a quarterback right here. And at number 2 overall, they go Cam Ward, quarterback out of Miami. So Cam Ward's drafted to the Cleveland Browns at 2, which leave the Giants in an interesting spot. Now, hear me out. Every Giants fan in the world, they're absolutely going to take Shedeur. No way they pass on Shedeur. We know they need a quarterback. Brian Daboll is not coaching for 2-3 years down the line. He's coaching for his job this season. So you can take this in one of two ways. Ownership is going to let Shane and Daboll go out their way, or ownership is saying, hey, Daboll is going to be gone regardless. We need to plan for the future. If the plan is the draft for the future, then you can take Shedeur, but how many times have we seen this play out? Where a coach and a GM get canned. If Daboll's gone, Shane's probably gone as well. The new GM and the new coach, they're not coming in a quarterback class in 2026 is projected to be better than this one and saying we're going to ride out with this guy, that this failure of a GM and coach they drafted. This wasn't my guy. You're setting, like, truly, if you take the silly Madden hat off and think about this from a football, you're setting your franchise back if it doesn't work out. If it doesn't work out, you're setting your franchise back. If you're the Giants, the best chance you have to compete in this division in the NFC is not with a rookie quarterback. It's with a veteran. And you're hearing Malik Neighbors say, hey, go get Matthew Stafford. You know, the Giants potentially interested in a player like Russell Wilson. That doesn't mean you can't take a quarterback later, but I don't think here at 3, this is the quarterback that's going to save Daboll's job. He doesn't give a damn about the Giants in 26, 27. He's caring about what he's got week 1 of 2025 to week 18 of 2025, that season. And I think that's a veteran quarterback in New York. So they're not taking Shedeur here at 3. On the board, you have Travis Hunter, that coming in, he can pair well with young safety Tyler Nubin, with Andrew Phillips, who was good as a rookie. You give yourself an elite potential shutdown corner on the outside with that pass rush of Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence, your defense is better. You've got to go up against the Commanders, the Philadelphia Eagles. And then offensively, you don't need Hunter to come in and be a full-time wide receiver. He can be a part-time player, a PTPer for the Giants when you've got all-world rookie Pro Bowl wide receiver Malik Neighbors. You've got Wan'Dale Robinson. You've got the talent of Theo Johnson in a running game with Tyrone Tracy. I think right here at 3, much to the dismay of Giants YouTube fans, we are going to take Travis Hunter, the Heisman Trophy winner out of Colorado, which puts me in a spot where I'm excited as hell because I want to talk through this situation. And I had asked some people in Jordan Reed's mock breakdown, a big board breakdown, if you haven't checked that out on the channel, went through his top 50 picks. We all know the New England Patriots need a pass catcher. Everybody knows it. Most mocks just plug in Ted McMillan. We'll give him Mason Graham. Let's just give him Ted McMillan. If I told you today, and we've seen this player mocked inside the top 7 of other mocks already, but if I told you today that Penn State tight end Tyler Warren could be Drake Maye's version of Rob Gronkowski, how high would you draft that player? What would that be worth? You need a pass catcher. You know the offensive line is not great, but you've got a tight end that can block, that is versatile, and has a head coach that was a versatile player himself, has an offensive coordinator in Josh McDaniels that helped coach Rob Gronkowski. Now, you don't have to take him here at 4. And this is why I think the new head coach of the New York Jets or the Raiders, they're calling. They're calling New England right now. How do we move up? The Raiders, how do we move up? The Jets, how do we move up? The Raiders, let's see. Let's go to the trade machine, and there you go. Jets are on the clock. Now, I looked this up. In 2021, the Dallas Cowboys and the Jets, they flip-flopped 2 spots. Dallas moved back from 10 to 12. Philly moved up to 10. And they ended up kicking in a 2023, the next year's third-round pick. So it cost a third-round pick to do a little two-spot swap. So the Jets here at 7. Let's see who else. We've got the Jets asking. I think Aaron Glenn could make a move to bring Shedeur Sanders to New York. Or they can chill and try to go for a Jackson Dart right here. I think the Raiders, what I'm hearing is that the Raiders and or the Steelers could be good spots for Aaron Rodgers right now. The Raiders, according to Sportsbooks, the 4th best spot. So I'm going to do a deal with the Jets. I'm going to tell Aaron Glenn and Woody Johnson, all right, we'll kick back to 7. You could jump up to 4, do it for 7 to 4. That's going to cost more than that third-round pick. That's going to cost a little bit more. And Mike Vrabel and this outstanding coaching staff that they're putting together and Robert Kraft, they squeeze out a third-rounder. Can they get the 7 and the 92 pick, get a third-round pick for them to move up to 4? Let's offer it. Aaron Glenn, the Jets, they're excited. And right now, the Colorado kids come off the board back-to-back. They go get their quarterback of the future in Shedeur Sanders, bringing Shedeur to New York, giving up a third-round pick this year in order to do it. The New England Patriots trade out of a spot where they could have taken Ted McMillan. Now you've got the Jacksonville Jaguars on the clock who are like, damn, the guys that I was probably going to take anyway and all the other mocks, they're still here. Mason Graham is on the board. Ted McMillan, I saw him mock today where they took a tight end, Tyler Warren, in the first round. But I think right here with Mason Graham on the board, the Jags go Mason Graham. And the Raiders are like, shit, our guy Shedeur's off the board. We couldn't offer enough. The Pats weren't going to do business with us for whatever reason. They did business with their AFC East counterpart Jets to help them get a quarterback. Raiders are on the clock and they're not tripping. Like, we'll take Ted McMillan. I see a lot of Raiders fans right now saying that Aaron Rodgers would be a good fit right now as a bridge quarterback in Las Vegas. Wait until 2026. Get the team ready for when you're ready for a quarterback to come in. Get Aaron Rodgers some help. Ted McMillan, you come on down. You're a Las Vegas Raider at 6. And now New England's on the clock, and it feels great. You didn't have to do it at 4, but right here at pick 7, I'm going to give them and Drake Maye a pass catcher, a blocker, somebody that I think could come in right away and be an immediate red zone threat for the New England Patriots, a player who physically profiles very similar to Rob Gronkowski, who coming out of Arizona, who was 6'6", 264 pounds. Penn State's got Tyler Warren listed at 6'6", 261 pounds. I went back and looked at Mike Gesicki, I looked at Pat Freiermuth, and I looked at Theo Johnson, all tight ends at Penn State, to see how accurate they listed their height and weight. All three of those guys were dead on, exactly the same height. Well, Gesicki was, I think, a half an inch shorter at his combine than he was on the site. But Freiermuth and Theo Johnson both listed at 6'6", and they measured in at 6'6" at the combine. So if this dude is truly 6'6", 261, over 100 receptions in the Big Ten, this ain't the Sun Belt or the MEAC conference. He did this in one of the best conferences in football at the tight end position. He's not Brock Bowers, but he's an outstanding prospect. I think right here, Drake Maye and New England Patriots, they draft Tyler Warren, tight end, out of Penn State. Carolina's on the clock at pick 8. I mean, McMillan's off the board, Graham's off the board, Abdul Carter's off of the board. They need somebody to get after the quarterback. Defensively, we're going to go to a player that's listed as a linebacker and lower here. That PFF Sycamore, I talked to my dog. I don't know why I doesn't like Jalen Walker that much, but I'm still very much in on Jalen Walker, outside linebacker, edge rusher out of Georgia. He goes to Carolina at pick 8. The Saints are on the clock at pick 9, wide receiver, tight end, and D-line, biggest positions of need. I think right here for the Saints, although receiver is a priority, I'm not taking Luther Burden right here in New Orleans. Not with Olave. They still have Shaheed, I believe, under contract. So best available player, you've got Ashton Jeanty, and then you have Will Johnson here, cornerback out of Michigan. Marshawn Lattimore out the building. Will Johnson, hey, we need you down here in New Orleans. Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan, goes 9 to the Saints. 10, the Bears are on the clock, and they've got to protect Caleb Williams at all costs. I'm not playing around with Jeanty in this mock. We're not going to do it. They take Will Campbell, tackle/guard out of LSU, probably kicks in on the interior for Chicago, protect Caleb Williams. The 49ers are on the clock, and surprisingly, I believe they have the second best odds to land Aaron Rodgers if he becomes a free agent post-June 1 cut, which it looks like he is. I don't think that's going to happen. They're going to roll with Brock Purdy. You got to protect Brock Purdy. So right here, Kelvin Banks, I would love to go. Mike Green, the edge out of Marshall. I gave that to the 49ers in the last mock, and Niners fans were like, yeah, we'll take that. We're good with that one, Ray G. So we'll go Kelvin Banks, tackle out of Texas. You got to think long-term. After Trent Williams, takes a step back, and even right now you kick him on the inside, that'll be all right. Kelvin Banks, still one of the best offensive line prospects in this class. Dallas is on the clock at pick 12. I really want to trade back right here. I want a team to want to come up, to love to come up, to get this pick right here so we can move Dallas back. And I have not done this in a long time. I don't think that Dallas Cowboys particularly need to do this. But at this point, with Johnson off of the board, no Tyler Warren, they're going to take the best player available. And Ashton Jeanty being right here, I'm going to succumb to public pressure, and we're just going to do it. Ashton Jeanty goes to Dallas at pick 12. Miami's on the clock at pick 13. Guard, tackle, D-line, and safety. Malachi Starks is still on the board. You could look at edge rusher and James Pierce. Tackle, Josh Simmons, and that's where I think I actually want to lean. I don't want to go safety for the Dolphins here. Let's protect Tua, and Josh Simmons, prior to the injury, was thought and viewed to be one of the best tackle prospects in this class. So we're going to go Josh Simmons, tackle, as my dog is barking like crazy, out of Ohio State. He goes to the Miami Dolphins. 14, Colts are on the clock. Tight end, edge rusher, defensive back. This is a spot I think Malachi Starks comes off of the board for the Colts. At pick 15, the Falcons are on the clock, and they need to get after the quarterback in the worst way. Mike Green, edge out of Marshall, is on the board. Mykel Williams is also on the board. But I think right here, James Pierce, fundamental, technically sound, one of the highest pressure rates in college football this past year, is going to be an immediate plug-and-play guy off of the edge for the Falcons. Good pick for Atlanta at 15. Cards are on the clock at 16, interior offensive line, tackle, defensive line, and they are in luck that all of those things are available for them. I think right here, Mykel Williams out of Georgia, the edge rusher, lands in Arizona at 16. The Bengals are on the clock. Guard, D-line, wide receiver, positions of need. Luther Burden available. You got Emeka Egbuka. Mike Green off of the edge. But I think that interior defensive line and Walter Nolan's ability to move around on the defensive front, his quickness, got to see it in person. And I talked to people this past week who say he's rising up higher and higher on people's boards. And don't be shocked if Walter Nolan is a top 10 pick at the end of this process. Walter Nolan here, right here at 17 to Cincinnati. There we go. 18, the Seattle Seahawks, guard, center, edge rusher, and linebacker positions of need. Here's a pick and a player that I have not paired up yet, but Mike Green, the slide falls. I think Tampa Bay would have loved to have grabbed Mike Green, but the Seahawks, they need an edge rusher, and Mike Green can provide pressure. Like the pick going to Seattle, and Tampa Bay is like, damn it, we were going to take Mike Green, but it's all right. You've got Shamar Stewart still on the board. I think right here at 19, he would make a good fit in this defense. Shamar Stewart coming off of the edge, big, physical, dominating defensive end from Texas A&M goes to the Bucs. At 20, we heard Sean Payton talk about the Joker. He needs this crazy athlete. Sounds like he was talking about Tyler Warren, but I still think that a tight end is a priority need. They got the Defensive Player of the Year in Pat Surtain. Colson Loveland, tight end 1 to some, right here, pick 20 of the Denver Broncos. At 21, the Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock, and I've continued to mock this player. I think it's a perfect fit for what George Pickens does well, who is a deep ball threat. I believe this is the last year of George Pickens' contract. Let's go ahead and draft Emeka Egbuka. I believe he can be a plug-and-play slot for the Steelers out the gate. Chargers are on the clock at pick 22. Running back, wide receiver, tight end, and edge rusher positions of need for the Chargers. Now, they hit a home run last year with Ladd McConkey. They did not fare so well with Quentin Johnston in the first round a couple of years ago. This is a new regime. And I think when you look at the edge rushers available right now, let's just go to the edge position. Sawyer, Donovan Ezeraku, who's incredible out of Boston College, Princely Human Milan. But I believe these are second-round picks. You can get these guys in the second round or at least close to it. I think you could play a little bit of a gamble right here. All right, at 22, Chargers get an outside vertical threat for Justin Herbert. They tried. I give him all the credit in the world for giving Quentin Johnston a chance. They gave him opportunity after opportunity. He performed at some cases. In other instances, he did not fare so well. They've got to upgrade that outside wide receiver, make things a little bit easier for Ladd. It's a deep tight end class. It's a deep running back class. And there are still edge defenders that we can get later. As much as I want to do it, I think that the priority position, if you're just looking at fit, position, skill set, and need, I believe Matthew Golden would make a lot of sense for the Chargers here at 22. Green Bay on the clock at 23. Kenneth Grant on the interior. Gray Zabel is a pick that I've made. I don't think Gray's getting out of the first. Jahdae Barron is available. You've got Revel, but the knee, maybe we bump him down to the second round. I think Green Bay would be in a good spot here. And I really kind of wanted to mark Matthew Golden to the Packers. I know a lot of people aren't putting a wide receiver or high on the priority list, but I think they need a guy. I do believe they need a guy. You've got Armand Mimbu, but I think he's more of a traditional tackle. So it really comes down to Gray Zabel. You've got Josh Connerly. You've got Jahdae Barron. Barron, Zabel, Connerly. Let's play the game that we could go inside in the next round, and we can't get Jahdae Barron in the next round. So right here, Barron, there's one more corner I want to look at. Ezariah Thomas out of Florida State. 6'2", 198. I saw him in person, up close and personal, and he is physical. He's got the size. And I talked to some Green Bay Packers fans. They like those lengthy corners. We'll still go Jahdae Barron here. We'll go Jahdae Barron here for Green Bay. But I really think that Ezariah Thomas will be coming off of the board here shortly. Minnesota on the clock at pick 24. Running back, guard, D-line, cornerback positions of need. Gray Zabel. I think Gray Zabel, if you wanted to go interior D-line, Kenneth Grant is available. But right here, Minnesota, they get things ready. They get things ready up front for their young quarterback. They're like, you know what? We could take a running back. That sounds fun. It's cute. But let's get prepped up. Let's get J.J. McCarthy protection. Gray Zabel, the Green Bay bet does not pay off because Zabel's a first-round pick, as he should be. He comes off of the board right after pick 24. Vikings were doing backflips, even though they probably would have taken Jahdae Barron, so they both took the player that they would have taken. Here we go. Houston's on the clock at pick 25, and this is another spot where if Zabel were on the board, I can definitely see them upgrading C.J. Stroud, but they got to get a pass catcher, man. They need somebody to help Stroud out. Luther Burden's still on the board at 25. They run to the card, turn it in. Burden's going to H-Town. LA's on the clock, and this is where they need a tight end, a tackle, a linebacker, a cornerback. I believe they go DB, cornerback, and we are going to do it. He is going to rise after the combine. Again, the size, he's bigger than Harrison. Darian Porter can fly. Porter's a big dude, and he can fly. 6'4", 200 pounds, but Ezariah Thomas, I believe, right here at pick 26 to the Rams. There you go. Makes some sense. We got the Baltimore Ravens on the clock at 27. Tackle, edge rusher, and cornerback. Positions of need. Armand Membu, come on down. This is a player I've seen as high inside the top 10, and the Ravens are able to snag him up here at pick 27. Cornerback could have been in play, but I'm not passing up on a tackle that I've seen routinely inside the top 15. Detroit's on the clock at pick 28. I hear you, Lions fans. They want Kenneth Grant. Keep him at home. Big run-stuffing defensive tackle. Kenneth Grant to the Detroit Lions at pick 28. At 29, the Washington Commanders are on the clock. Commanders are on the clock here, and we can go get help for Jaden Daniels. Can get Dan Quinn some help on the defensive side of the ball. Edge rusher, cornerback, positions of need. Ben Morrison's still on the board. And if everything is clear with the hip, Ben Morrison's going to be a first-round pick. I would hate to give Washington an injured cornerback at this point, but let's keep the positivity hat on. Ben Morrison, 16th ranked overall according to Sycamore and PFF. Slides down the board a little bit, but Washington pounces on that. And I've seen Dan Quinn do a great job with some of these cornerbacks that might slide. Don't forget what he did with Deron Bland as well as Trayvon Diggs. At 30, Buffalo's on the clock. MVP Josh Allen. When to get him some more help. D-line, linebacker, cornerback, positions of need. Talik Williams. You've got Derek Harmon out, the interior defensive lineman, TJ Sanders. I think right here, Talik Williams, credible down the stretch. He goes to the Buffalo Bills. And I'm recording this pre-Super Bowl. I don't want to have any bias. Congratulations, Kansas City, if you got it done. Three-peat, unheard of. And Philly, if y'all got it done, hell yeah, we'll flip-flop the picks. I'm recording this beforehand, so y'all have it right after the game. This is what they have it ranked at. So Philadelphia here picking at 31, and they very well could be Super Bowl champs. Congrats if it is you, Philly. But wide receiver, guard, edge rusher, and cornerback positions of need. This is where I'm taking Donovan RayGQue, edge rusher out of Boston College. Burst, explosiveness, physicality, a nasty spin move. If edge is what Philly wants, that's what you're going to get out of RayGQue. So Donovan RayGQue right here, 31 or 32 to the Philadelphia Eagles, because it would have been the pick regardless. And Kansas City is on the clock, and this pick would have been the pick regardless probably as well. And I'm playing on some of the news and some of the things that we're hearing that this could be Travis Kelce's final game in Kansas City. This offense thrives with that tight end, and I know Noah Gray has played well, and I think he could be a very good tight end. They drafted Jared Wiley out of TCU. If Kelce is off of the board and retired and moved on, that's a big position that they have to fill. This is a deep tight end class. I do think that Elijah Arroyo out of Miami is going to end up shooting up draft boards as we go through this process. And without orchestrating a trade here at this point, I don't believe he would last in this mock to pick 64. I highly doubt that would happen. So this is predicting and projecting ahead. But I think right here, the Kansas City Chiefs, who in this particular spot have won the world championship for the third straight time, knowing they need D-line, knowing they need linebacker. I'm not taking a backer right here. Tackle, guard, running back. I think trying to fill that gap with this athletic of a tight end, this would be a good move for Kansas City. So right here at 32, I'm taking Elijah Arroyo, the tight end out of Miami at 32 for the Kansas City Chiefs. So there goes round one, top 10. We had a little Jets, New England Patriots swap, the only trade just because I really wanted to talk Tyler Warren to New England, and I want y'all to comment below about that. And it's not saying this is what I think is 1,000% going to happen, but let's talk some different theories, some different strategy about what these teams might do and how Tyler Warren, who's built exactly like Gronk, could fit with Drake Maye in New England. So it went Carter, Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, Mason Graham, Ted McMillan, Tyler Warren, Jalen Walker, Will Johnson, and Will Campbell inside the top 10. So remember, the Titans passed on quarterback. The Browns got Cam Ward. The Giants, who in this scenario went out and got Matt Stafford. They did what Malik Neighbors wanted. They got a veteran quarterback, Russell Wilson. So they opted for Travis Hunter. They opted for the two-way star. Shedeur goes to the Jets here at pick 4, and then the Jags took Mason Graham at 5. So let's kick it to the second round with this at the top of mine. And right here at pick 33, Cleveland's on the clock at 33. And let's just go back to our picks. Remember, they drafted Cam Ward, quarterback out of Miami. So at 33, running back, tackle, cornerback are positions of need. There is no Ashton Jeanty. He is not off of the board, but I do think that running back would be a good spot right here. They're trying to revitalize this offense, bring some excitement to the city, to this team. They've got Jerome Ford still on a rookie deal, and I think he probably would start the season off as the starting running back, right, as the veteran running back. But let's bring some explosiveness to this offense right here out of Ohio State. Travion Henderson at the top of the second round goes to the Cleveland Browns as the second running back off of the board, and the New York Giants are on the clock at 34, and I think this is where they take a swing on a quarterback, and they go Jackson Dart, quarterback out of Ole Miss. So instead of taking Shedeur Sanders at 3, they went Travis Hunter. They've got Matthew Stafford in this scenario through free agency, and right here at 34, they took Jackson Dart, the quarterback out of Ole Miss. At 35, Tennessee is on the clock. They took Abdul Carter to start. They still need a quarterback. They've got to protect somebody. I think right here that there is not a quarterback that I believe is worthy enough of a high second-round pick. Quinn Ewers, Kyle McCord, Will Howard, Milroe, whomever you want to take in the third, fourth round, cool. But right here, let's just look for one of the best players available for them. They've already gone edge. Let's assume in this scenario they went out and got a damn quarterback, right? Josh Connerly, Ariante Essery, I think right here, or Jonah Savina. I think right here, Josh Connerly, the tackle out of Oregon. He goes down to Tennessee. Jags are on the clock. Protect T-Law. Protect Trevor Lawrence. Jags went defensive line with the first pick. D-line, cornerback, guard, and center positions of need. A lot of these tackles, a lot of people projecting are going to kick down on the inside. Donovan Jackson, another one of them. Those tackle guards out of Ohio State, very, very impressive throughout the college football playoffs. So I think right here, Donovan Jackson to the Jacksonville Jaguars at pick 36. The Raiders are on the clock at 37. Again, I see these mocks with Milroe. I just think it's burning. I think it's burning money right now. You got Ted McMillan. In this scenario, we talked about Aaron Rodgers, them coming in with a bridge veteran-type quarterback. I still don't want to take Jalen Milroe right here at this spot at pick 37. I want a running back. And Omarion Hampton, top 25 player still on the board out of North Carolina. 6 foot plus, 220 pound plus, can catch the ball, run between the tackles. He would be a perfect physical tone setter, upgrade over every other running back in the building. Omarion Hampton is a Las Vegas Raider, and the Pats are back up on the clock. Now remember, they made a couple of picks. They made a trade. They moved down. They got an extra third-round pick. They picked up a pass catcher in Tyler Warren in the first round, who also plays tight end. And here we are on the board at pick 38. Running back, wide receiver, guard, and tackle positions of need. And they're still in a good spot. If you want a tackle, Essery is available. Savina, who can kick inside the guard. So if you got that versatility with Savina, who was at the Senior Bowl. Marcus Embo, a player that I've also seen in the first round. Receivers, there are still some good receivers available on the board. A.O. Manor, Jack Bech. You've got Higgins and the other guy, Jalen Knoll, who I think is a little better than Higgins. Trey Harris, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. New England's got so much free money that they can spend in free agency. They should be able to upgrade all of this. So when we're just looking at the best players available on the board, where would they go? Where can they go? I think Jack Sawyer right here, edge rusher. They can hit that up. Let's go with the offensive line. Let's go O-line. You got Tyler Booker, guard out of Alabama, still available and could plug and play right inside for Vrabel to help Drake Maye keep him upright. Tyler Warren and Tyler Booker. They go 2 Tylers in this draft, and the Bears are on the clock. They need a running back. They need a center. They need an edge rusher. You got Jack Sawyer on the board, but this RB class is deep. This RB class is deep. Quinshon Judkins or Caleb Johnson. I've got Caleb Johnson rated a little bit higher than Judkins. Now, Johnson isn't going to be viewed as that Jahmyr Gibbs level of rusher, but he absolutely will give Ben Johnson that physical tone setter from day one. Caleb Johnson is incredible. He and Omarion Hampton, I flip-flop those guys, RB2, RB3 in this class. Caleb Johnson to Chicago. I love the fit. He's played in the cold weather. He knows what it's like playing in Iowa. This is a pick that the Panthers probably wish they had back. Caleb Johnson is a Bear. Saints are on the clock at pick 40. Receiver, tight end, defensive line, positions of need. Elick Manor, physical, big wide receiver. If you want to know anything about him, 6'2", 210, go look at his tape versus Travis Hunter. This is a tone setter where Chris Olave can do his type of things and Rashid Shaheed could stretch the field. You don't want Olave nor Shaheed running over the middle of the field, taking those big hits. Manor's got the body to withstand and hold up in those situations. D-line, also a position to need, but I think Elick Manor right here to the New Orleans Saints. The Bears are back on the clock after drafting Caleb Johnson. They are just cooking right now. Positions of need, offensive line, edge rusher. Let's go to the edge. You got Jack Sawyer still available, Princely Human-Milan, Jared Ivey, Hosea Stewart, and then you've got Jaheed Campbell, the linebacker, edge rusher out of Alabama. Man, Bears in very good shape. I think we're going to lean into the edge and Jack Sawyer right here at 41. A lot of people say he's not a first-round pick, but I think here at 41, nobody would be upset with that. So Jack Sawyer, edge, going to Chicago at 41. Bears quietly a nice draft. Caleb Johnson, Jack Sawyer, and then I believe they got Will Campbell in the first round. I don't think Bears fans would be upset at that at all. The Jets are on the clock. They took Shedeur Sanders in the first round. Right here, quarterback, D-line, and defensive back positions of need. They've got options right now. They've got options on the defensive front. Nick Scorton still available. You've got, let's go to the D-line, the interior of defensive line. TJ Sanders, Derek Harmon, Darius Alexander, Dayon Walker. This is a honeypot spot for the Jets. There are a lot of good positions they can go. They've already handled up at quarterback. Let's take a look at the defensive backs, the corners. Amos. If Siobhan Revel's knee is good, you put him and Sauce Gardner, and Sauce is a lengthy, rangy corner, 6'3", 193. How do you even stop them? Aaron Glenn with Revel and Sauce Gardner out there, both 6'2" plus cornerbacks. Let's go. Siobhan Revel, come on down. You're the Jet. You are a Jet. Niners are on the clock at pick 43. What they do in round one? Kelvin Banks, they went offensive tackle in round one. There are reports that they're looking to potentially move on from Deebo Samuel, so that should be some more Ricky Pearsall in our lives. Here we go. Defensive line, O-line, Kelvin Banks, guard, D-line, Princely Human-Milan. If you want an edge, Landon Jackson, more of a big prospect. But I think right here, Nick Scorton, who they haven't listed as edge, but at 290 pounds, 285, 6'4", 285, this type of guy that I believe Robert Saleh will be able to get the most out of, kicking him inside, playing him next to Nick Bosa. So let's go with the 27th ranked player quartered in the Sigma and PFF, Nick Scorton out of A&M to the San Francisco 49ers. Dallas is on the clock. They went Ashton Jeanty in round one. They need another edge rusher. They need a tackle. They need a wide receiver. Got Jack Bech. I'm thinking about fit next to CeeDee Lamb. What would the best fit be? And I think it would be a bigger outside wide receiver. You've got Jack Bech available, who played on the outside, who'd be an incredible blocker as well, played right at TCU. You also have Trey Harris, wide receiver out of Ole Miss, 6'3", 210 pounds. I'm interested to see what he'll end up running. And one of my personal favorites, Trey Harris. Come on down, you're a Dallas Cowboy. 6'3". I like what Harris can do stretching the field. He is a boundary wide receiver, 29 slot snaps. That's going to be CeeDee Lamb, field stretcher, and I think he was a big part of the reason why Jackson Dart had the start to his season that he had, because Trey Harris was on a tear to set every freaking SEC record at wide receiver prior to the injury. Indianapolis is on the clock here at 45, and they still need an easy button option for Anthony Richardson, and luckily they are in this draft class where the tight end position is loaded. Indianapolis Colts select Mason Taylor. Though I really think that after the Senior Bowl, his rise is only going to start. They need a tight end. Indianapolis lands Taylor. At 46, the Falcons are on the clock. In the first round, they went James Pierce, edge rusher. They still need some speed. And right here, I'm going to do it because this player, I'm telling y'all, I think he should be in the conversation as a top 50 pick. But Jalen Noel out of Iowa State, smooth, athletic, speed this past year, was outstanding, almost 1,200 yards on 80 receptions, 8 touchdowns this year, productive last year. I believe after the combine, he'll be a big riser as well. You pair him next to Drake London. Let Darnell Mooney play outside. This is an upgrade over Ray McLeod in the slot. Jalen Noel, thought he had an outstanding Senior Bowl. He goes to Atlanta at pick 46. 47, the Cards are on the clock. They went Mykel Williams, edge rusher. Let's look at O-line for the Cards. I know they need O-line. You got Essery still available. Savina that can play on the inside. Let's take Jonah. Let's take Jonah. A little versatile. If you need, you can try him out at guard, or you can kick him on the interior. He stays close to home. Arizona Cardinals take a kid they probably got to see a lot. Josh Simmons out of Ohio State went to the Miami Dolphins at 48. I heard from somebody that they're going to be in the market for another wide receiver in Miami. That's what I've heard. I've heard they're going to be in the market for another wide receiver. How true that is, we shall see. The Dolphins, they run a lot of creative, unique stuff. You bring Jonnu Smith back. You've got Jalen Waddle. If Tyreek Hill isn't there, I know he's apologized to Miami. We'll see. We'll see how all of this goes. And I like what they did last year with Malik Washington out of Virginia. So I've heard he's going to be on the move. He goes out. Now, the Miami Dolphins are on the clock at pick 48, and Tyreek Hill's apology tour is already commenced. He said he's sorry for all the stuff that he said, and yada, yada, yada. He'll be back, and Miami's going to make him play out his contract. They went to protect Tua in round one. Right here, they look to get after the quarterback, TJ Sanders, big defensive tackle out of South Carolina available. Let's just pull up the interior. Omar Norman-Lott was impressive as hell. Darius Alexander as well. Alfred Collins, big day on Walker. I think I'm going to take Darius Alexander out of Toledo here for Miami. This is another defensive lineman that should be rising up all throughout the pre-draft process and the combine. Walter Nolan went to Cincy in round one, so they upgraded that D-line. Now they look to upgrade their offensive line, get Joe Burrow a little bit of help. Tackle is in a good spot. There's no natural guard here. So let's pivot to the receiver position. Let's look at wide receiver. You know what? Everything that's going on right now with Jermaine Burton, you've got Yoshi Voss there, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Is he going to be there? They would need another receiver. And I think right here, Jack Bech out of TCU playing that complementary role with Jamar Chase. I could see that working out. I like Yoshi Voss and what he does from the slot, and it seems like Joe Burrow trusts him as well. We go Jack Bech out of TCU, goes to Cincinnati at 49. The Seahawks are on the clock. Linebacker, edge rusher, guard, center positions of need. They went Mike Green, edge out of Marshall in round one. I really like that. Jaheed Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama, 41st overall in PFF. Snag him at 50 going to Seattle. Tampa Bay at 51. They went Shamar Stewart, edge rusher out of Texas A&M. They need a linebacker and they need a defensive back. The DBs are nice. You've got Nick Emanwori, the big safety out of South Carolina. I had him at round one in one of my mocks to Denver, so I'm going to hold off on that. Let's look at the DBs. Let's look at the corners. You got Amos, Porter, and let's go with the safeties. Xavier Watts for Tampa Bay, but edge rusher, linebacker. There is a linebacker out of UCLA that was supposed to be at the Senior Bowl that everybody says is legit, Carson Schlesinger. I didn't get a chance to see him, but everyone's saying he's a second-round pick, top 50 type guy. I did get a chance to see Demetrius Knight, physical, 6'2", 245 pounds. D. Knight, come on down. Demetrius Knight to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 51. Denver went Colston Loveland in round one, and they still have a need at running back, but it's loaded. You can get you a nice one in round two or round three. I think being able to get these the safety prospect right here at this pick, Nick Emanwori out of South Carolina or Xavier Watts. I like Nick a little more. So we'll take Denver. Denver take this safety. You pair him up with all-pro and defensive player of the year, Patrick Surtain, help lead that secondary, keep that secondary strong. Pittsburgh's on the clock at 53. They went Emeka Egbuka in round one. Quarterback, not going to do that. Receiver and defensive back positions of need. Trey Amos. You've got Princely Human-Milan that can help out off of the defensive line, and Xavier Watts on the back end. And I think this would be a really good spot for Xavier Watts. Very instinctual safety, All-American. Xavier Watts to Pittsburgh here at 53. At 54, the Chargers are on the clock, and in round one, they went Matthew Golden, wide receiver, to help out Justin Herbert. Tight end, edge rusher, and running back, still positions of need for the Chargers. And we are going to go to the running back position because there's a guy that feels like he would be destined to succeed in Jim Harbaugh's scheme. That player is Ohio State running back Quinshon Judkins. Quinshon Judkins comes in with Matthew Golden. The Chargers are going offense right now, and I love this fit. Love the player. And Jim Harbaugh, he knows a thing or two about those collegiate kids. He was just there. Judkins would be a nice fit in LAC. Green Bay's on the clock. They took Jahdae Barron in round 1. We played a center game. We wanted to wait, see what other interior offensive linemen came back around. You got Tate Ratledge and Jarrett Wilson still there. Ariante Essery. I don't think Essery's kicking into the inside. So you're talking about a true tackle right there for Green Bay. If we pull up the wide receivers that are available still, Restrepo, Higgins, Royals, Bond, I don't see it. I don't see those caliber of guys. I want to go on the edge. And right here, Princely Human-Milan out of Ole Miss, edge rusher. I know they've got Lucas Van Ness, and no, he cannot kick down on the inside. So I don't know if they need to prioritize another interior defensive lineman, but if you just want a true edge, Human-Milan, that's what he's going to play. Ole Miss, they had an outstanding defensive front. So Princely Human-Milan goes to Green Bay at 55. So they went defense twice. Jahdae Barron and then Princely. They could have gone Gray Zabel and probably still gotten, that's the risk you pay. You could have still gotten a Trey Amos right here in the second. Maxwell Harrison, who some people think could be even a first-round pick here in the second round. Buffalo's on the clock right now at 56. They went Talik Williams, and then they've got another pick in this round. So they got this from Minnesota. Nice for the Buffalo Bills. They are going to tool up, and when you look at the position players, cornerback, linebacker, there's Carson Schlesinger. We talked about him and everything that he brings to the table. So I think Buffalo, if that's one of their positions of need, you're getting a damn good player, 48th overall at 56. The Texans are on the clock at 57. They went Luther Burden in round 1. Guard, center, and D-line still a position of need. We've got to get C.J. Stroud some help. Essery's a big boy. I don't know if 6'6", 330 can kick inside, but he had good feet, really good feet, and I trust everything that's going on in Houston. So we're going to take a very good player at 57 and let them figure out if they need to move somebody down to the inside or move Essery down there. Carolina's on the clock at 58, and in their first round, they took Jalen Walker, edge. Got this pick from L.A., defensive back and D-line position of need, as is getting some help for Bryce Young. I don't think at this point there's a wide receiver. I'm not taking Restrepo here at 58. I'd probably take Maxwell Harrison right here, but because Amos, I got to see him up close. He is a much bigger corner, physical corner. I think right here at 58, Trey Amos, the 33rd overall player coming off of the board. Nice little get for Carolina. Baltimore's on the clock at 59. They went tackle Armamimbu in round 1, edge rusher and cornerback positions of need. JTT out of Ohio State, Landon Jackson still on the board, and Kyle Kennard out of South Carolina, and that is where we're going to go for Baltimore. Kyle Kennard off of the board here at 59 for the Baltimore Ravens. Lions are on the clock. They took Kenneth Grant in round 1. I'm going to go Tate Ratledge out of Georgia. He's a player that we had mocked early into round 2 a couple of weeks ago, and he's fallen down the board a little bit, but I like Tate Ratledge right here. All right, 61, Washington's back on the clock. They went Ben Morrison, cornerback, in round 1 out of Notre Dame, who fell down the board due to the medical stuff, but everything is good. Ben Morrison's going to be all right. And we got to get some help. Can we get some help? Restrepo in the slot for Jaden Daniels. You got Terry McLaurin, Xavier Restrepo. I don't hate that. Isaiah Bond. A little bit of a speed stretcher, but we got that in Terry McLaurin. I think Jaden Higgins, the other Iowa State wide receiver, much bigger, 6'4", 215 pounds. I think Jaden Daniels can make it work. Jaden Higgins from Iowa State to the Washington Commanders at 61. At 62, Buffalo is back up, and I like what Buffalo's doing. They went defense, Talik Williams. They went defense, Carson Schlesinger. And right here, Maxwell Harrison to the Buffalo Bills at 62. And then at 63, you got Philly on the clock. They went Ezuraku, the edge rusher out of Boston College, at pick in their first round, pick 31. So right here, wide receiver, guard, edge, and cornerback positions of need. We're gonna go defensive back. I feel a little safer. I feel a little safer with Darian Porter or Kobe Bryant. Darian Porter, one of the fastest players at the Senior Bowl. I think he's gonna test really fast like a freak. So if they can get something out of this 6'4" cornerback, Darian Porter out of Iowa State to Philadelphia. Kansas City's on the clock at 64. And they bypass defensive lineup. Oh, man, you get Kenneth Grant, linebacker, tackle. There's still so many good defensive linemen available, and TJ Sanders out of South Carolina is one of them, 6'4", 290. You've got Dayon Walker out of Kentucky, 6'7", 300 pounds. But I think right here, Derek Harmon out of Oregon, 6'5", 310. They're able to plug him in, help out Chris Jones. Derek Harmon at 64 to the Kansas City Chiefs, who in round 1 took Elijah Arroyo out of Miami. So there it is. 2 rounds post-damn Super Bowl. Carter, Ward, Hunter, and Shedeur to the Jets. Top 4, followed by Mason Graham, Ted McMillan, and a pick that I love to talk about, Tyler Warren to the New England Patriots here at pick 7. There's the entire mock. Appreciate you tapping in. If you stuck around for the thumbs up button, like, comment, subscribe. More mocks coming, more rookie profiles coming, more NFL draft. Appreciate you being here. Join the community. I'm out. Peace.